Hello and welcome to this episode of Nick of Time, and we will be discussing about all the Knicks past games that have happened while I was away. I'm sorry, it's not an every week thing. I had vacation to go on. I mean, I didn't have to. It's a great thing. Went on a cruise, great, um, stuff like that. But I also gathered some notes around the league and also some Knicks notes while I was away. Um, some Knicks notes are definitely turnovers, man. I know the Knicks went on such a big run, and we want to say, okay, this team is great, but you gotta nitpick here. If you think we can go against the Celtics, you gotta and nitpick. And I think one of the things is turnovers, man. You gotta in the first quarter, you've gotta be tough with the ball, and there's a lot of just laziness in the first quarter. They need to check that out and need to relax with that. Now Brunson, cooked on some great defenders in the Magic game. Man, they have some great defenders, but Brunson just went to work, which is the reason why I feel like this team's gonna be so good in the playoffs because they have a guy that can score in whatever defense you throw at him or whoever defends him. If it's Jonathan Isaac, if it's Jalen Suggs, if it's something like Kawhi, it doesn't matter who's guarding it. And if you have that player, that is the player you look at every single championship team or every single finals team. Last year, Jason Tatum. I mean, it's not really defense. I mean, whatever, but that's kind of an anomaly. But you look at the LeBron James led teams, the Curry led teams, the Curry and Durant led teams. Like you have that player who can get a bucket whenever they want to, on whoever they want to, whenever they want to, and can play against any defense, and can score against any defense. And that is why this Knicks team is so special because they have that guy. Knicks found a way to win a different way in that Magic game. They won by scrappiness. They won by playing great defense and kind of easing the way through the game. Again, the whole first half was not really the best. It was back and forth. But yeah, the Knicks got it done. And they got it done in a way that they didn't do before because they've more of, okay, we're going to outscore you, which is fine, but you got to find a way to win different ways because every game ain't going to be the same game. That's why we play the game of basketball. Every game of the E2 game season will not be the same way. That is why we play the game. Now, yeah, I want to talk about the trades that happened, but definitely I want to go through the Knicks right now. Precious and Cat together starting to form a very formidable front court. It looked good. I mean, it looked like a front court that I wanted. Because when you have something like a Precious who's hustle, 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 and then you have a Cat who can just play amazing offense with his decent defense, you have a great front court. Um, it just spells kind of it kind of makes for a great front court when you have that kind of guy who can score at a high level and that guy who gives the hustle and can also get easy points whenever he wants to, whenever the defense gives him. But yeah, um, yeah, uh, it's great that Landry Shamit's back. It's amazing, man. This guy is gonna spell Mikal Bridges some minutes. He has a great shot from three. His defense is top. His defense is pretty good. His defense is serviceable, and just him off the bench is gonna be good for the Knicks. Having him kind of spell Mikal, having him spell OG, a lot of stuff you can do with him. He's versatile. Can play point guard, shooting guard, small forward. Just another guy you can have off the bench to make your playoff pusher, try to get through the season, just something like that. Um, I'm happy that Mikel's producing, man. Produced at a high level Christmas Day, which is fun and all, but he's been putting together very good games, like 21 points, 20 points. Like I know the 40-point game looks great, but he's putting together some efficient shooting games, which is why we traded for him because he can score efficiently. He showed that his 40-point game against the Spurs, but he can score efficiently every single night, almost every single night. And the Knicks believe that, and that's what he's shown the last. When the Knicks got on a run, it's very linear with when Mikal just started going off, and Mikal just started playing not off, but started playing like him. So that's just a linear with it. It's just Mikel's playing good, the Knicks are playing good. So I think it's gonna be that the whole entire season for them. And I think that's why the Knicks should be good because Mikel's gonna be good almost every game. I could trust that. Yeah, I also visually I like how Mikel's playing with the ball. He looks way more comfortable with it in his hands, which is something he did in the first few games where he struggled, and he looks comfortable. He looks way more comfortable. He looks like he knows the offense. He looks pretty comfortable in that offense. Took him time. Takes everybody time, man. You look like an NBA playbook is long. It's a lot. So him getting adjusted with everything, he got adjusted with everything, and now he's just finding his niche in that offense. He knows what the offense is. Thibodeau trusts him. So he has this type of security blanket. He can just go to work and play his style of basketball. Um, yeah. Now trades. I want to talk about trades, man. The trade market is hot. Which yes, I know it's a Knicks focused thing, but I think when trades go on is a very good talking point because other teams are moving around, and I think um, it definitely if a player like DFS, as we're going to talk about, goes to a team like the Lakers, that's just going to tell you that the Western Conference is really getting loaded up with talent, and the Lakers getting better. Man, it's gonna be a tough playing game. It's gonna be a tough race for that playing because the Lakers are back there and they have somebody they had struggles defensively and with the 3-point. I think they fixed that. They didn't fix that completely, but they had that fixed in one player, and that was DFS. He was on the trade market. Need to get him. That was something that they needed to really go out and get. A guy who can catch and shoot, hit threes at a high level, and can play solid defense. So I think, and also as a wing. So if you basically trade D'Lo for DFS. So that's just a great swap for them. A great swap for them. Rob Pelinka did a great job. This is a wing that you need right now if you're Lakers. You want to make a playoff push, or you want to get some wins off. I think I heard that they have an easy schedule this January, so I don't really know how reliant that is, but I think they probably might have an easy schedule. So just making that push, you're going to need somebody like DFS who can defend at a high level and shoot open threes. So yeah, this Lakers team, their biggest thing was you're you're going to leave them open because they cannot shoot, but adding somebody like a consistent shooter like DFS for his whole entire career has been a consistent shooter, especially this season, 43% on 10 points per game. The Lakers need a guy like that, and they got it. They needed it. They didn't want it. It's not like somebody like, oh, we want a shot. No, you needed a DFS because you were losing games if you didn't have a player like DFS on your team, the way he could defend, the way he could shoot threes. Um, uh, yeah, let's also talk about the Dennis Schroeder trade from the Nets to the Warriors, man. The Warriors are a team that I think is different than the Lakers. They just need to take pressure off of Curry with the ball in his hands. That's one of their biggest things. And Dennis Schroeder has been great for the Nets. Dennis Schroeder was great for the Nets when he had the ball in his hands, was really facilitating, being a good leader. The Warriors need that guy because there's a lot of just pound pound the ball with Steph Curry. So they need a secondary ball handler, and that's what they got. And I think every team is getting what they need. Yes, there are two Nets players, but the Nets were pretty. The Nets are a good team. They just aren't a team that should be good. Which that's players you want to get because those players playing high are playing the best of their ability, and you want to go out and get them if you're a team like the Lakers or the Warriors. And that's gonna be tough for the playing spot. I mean, Lakers, Warriors are always in that contention for the playing spot with LeBron and Curry. So yeah, I mean they're both bolstering their team, which is great for them. They can go in the play-in and make some noise, and maybe make a playoff push. One of those teams can maybe make a playoff push. I mean, I wouldn't take it out of the picture. One team is Curry, one team is LeBron, so you never really count them out. But yeah, the Wolves' defense has come back to normal, which is one of the things that they need to happen. I know the fit with Randall and Gobert is not good at all, but man, I just think that they need to rely on the defense every game. They didn't have that reliance on the defense, which means they were just god awful. But now they have the reliance on defense. Yes, they still have problems on the bench. Yes, they still have problems offensively. But if they can have an identity defensively and they can realize their identity defensively, I think everyone will play better. I think Reyna will play better because everybody will locked in on one identity and they'll understand who they are. And look, Reyna's been great on some defensive first teams, man. on defensive teams that have been defense first, which he's never been a second option on defensive first team on defensive identity teams. I mean, you look at the Knicks we hear um, team where they had a defensive identity with Alfred Payne and Reggie Bullock in their backcourt. Yes, he was number one option, but when he has that identity of I know we're a defensive unit, he feels more comfortable because he understands the identity. So maybe that helps him a little bit. And they're also using him as playmaker, which is good, very good for them. They kind of figure that out, which that's going to be one of their valuable skills. Which they did trade for a four. I know they want to get rid of money, but again, you see someone like Julius Randle, you really look at him and you're like, that's a player I could build with. I can have as one of my stars because of the way he can play make. I know he has trouble turning the ball over, but if you put him in a situation where he can succeed with shooters around him, and with a guy like Anthony Edwards, he'll be fine facilitating and getting people open and also using his size down low. I think that is where the Timberwolves want him to be at. Yes, they wanted to dump money, but again, Julius Randle's a guy that he's an all-star. He can be an all-star. At his highest level, he's an all-star. So you want that guy. You would like to have that guy if you want to dump money. At least you got somebody who's gonna be decent for you, at least. Um yeah. The Heat's defense is too inconsistent for them to compete, man. It's way too inconsistent because they're a team that has always had this identity defensively. And you look at them, and if your defense is not consistent, their offense is not that good either. So you're in that kind of situation where it's like, what do we have here? That is why you're seeing rumors about Jimmy Butler trying to leave, is because it's just like, what do we have here? The defense has been our identity for so long. And now that we don't have a consistent defense, what do we really have? So that's what I think happened with the Timberwolves as well. I mean, Timberwolves were this great defensive team, went to the Western Conference Finals, and then they became this inconsistent defensive team, which kind of made everybody confused. And the same thing with the Heat. And Jimmy Butler's going to want out because this team is not what it used to be. This team is definitely not what it used to be. Yeah, Um, Denver is kind of well, I don't want. This is not good news, but I'm gonna go to this next one. RJ Barrett is taking on playmaking role with injuries. I think that's the biggest thing for RJ Barrett is that he needs to find his niche in the league. I know the 20 points per game scoring is great. I understand that. I understand it perfectly. If you're scoring 20 points per game, great. But does that happen when people are back? When you have a player like Scotty Barnes next to you, when you have a Quickly, when you have a Grady Dick who's on his kind of immersion, do you have those guys next to you? Do you feel that same 20 point per game score? Do you think he can fit in there? I don't know, but I think he needs to find his way on that offensive end. I think playmaking is the big thing. If he can bring that playmaking, any team could want him. Any team would want to have him next to their stars. I don't. Right now, I don't think RJ can fit in next to stars, but if he gets that opportunity with his playmaking, he can work on it, and he can be a good playmaker. I mean, again, the Knicks have always tried it for him to be the point guard. Um, in his early days, just trying to see what he can do with the ball in his hands. Just trying stuff when the Knicks were bad. They tried stuff. So they tried to play him at the point guard. So you're just seeing that type of stuff happen now with the Raptors being injured. So yeah, the Knicks saw some stuff in RJ Barrett and saw that he could play make a little bit and tried him at the point guard. It didn't really work. But yeah, it didn't really work at all. It didn't really work for them, but I think it will work for the Raptors because they have a bunch of injuries, because they still have a pretty good team. They're gonna have players back. Um, yeah. And also, one more thing I want to talk about before we end this is that Mike Brown, man, fired. It's kind of a surprise, but it kind of isn't with the way the Kings have been turning. I just don't think they picked the right option. I think when you're at this situation, you either pick between, um, is it personnel or is it coaching? And I think they picked coaching, which is the wrong decision because sometimes it's just the personnel, man. Sometimes it's just players on the floor. When you have Kevin Herter on the floor, when you have DeMontis Sabonis rim protecting, your defense is not going to be pretty good. Your defense is not going to be good at all. So I just think it's personnel right now. I think the Kings need to do stuff in the trade deadline to get defense, but I don't really know what they do now with Doug Christie at the head of the snake coaching wise. So I don't really know what they do. But hey, let's see what the Kings do because they have a new coach. They still need to. It's not like they fix their own entire defense. They still have personnel problems. So yeah, let's see what they do. So that's gonna do it for this episode of Nick of Time. Um, like and subscribe to this channel if you like the Knicks / NBA, and I'll be trying to pump this out as every season, every week, all season long. I'll be trying to pump out videos like this every week, all season long. Peace. Have a nice day, and let's go Knicks.